although it's still too early to put hanging baskets outside, now's the ideal time to make them up, and that way you can give them a few weeks to establish so that the plants fill out and then they can go outside. And I'm going to make a wire hanging basket this week, really easy to do, and I'm using a flat bottom basket purely because you can put that on your workbench and it won't wobble about. If you're using one with a round bottom, then I suggest you stand it on a bucket or a large plant pot just to hold it still. I've also taken off the chains to make it up. These will clip on afterwards, just makes it all easier, and I'm not going to get tangled up with the chains. Now we need something to line the basket, obviously to hold the compost and the plants in, and I'm going to use this. This is a wool waste. It's really clean to work with, it absorbs water better than moss, and I find it much better. I've used it now for about 10 years in hanging baskets. You can get it from garden centres or DIY stores, and it's just basically old woolen jumpers that have been shredded and made into this material. So what I'm going to do, because I want to plant through the side of the hanging basket, I don't line it all in one go. So I'm teasing out the wool, or if you're using moss, you do it exactly the same, and I'm creating what looks like a bird's nest in the bottom of this hanging basket. This is a 14-inch hanging basket. I wouldn't go much smaller than this. If you're making one for the first time, when you buy your hanging basket, they come in a range of sizes from 12 inches up to about 18 inches, but 14 inches is about the minimum I would go for, so that it will hold enough compost to keep the plants going. So there we are. I've made a bird's nest shape halfway up the basket, and then into that we need to put some compost. This is just an ordinary multi-purpose potting compost. So we fill that with compost, and then to keep the basket healthy through the summer, we're going to put two ingredients in there. One of them is a water retaining granule. This is swell-gel. It's basically like a coarse sugar when you buy it, and we're just going to sprinkle a scoop in there. And what that will do is absorb hundreds of times its volume in water. They'll swell up like little jelly structures, and that will retain some of the water in the basket. Doesn't mean we don't have to water, it just prevents it drying out quickly in between watering. And the other is a slow release fertiliser, because one of the main reasons hanging baskets fail is they run out of food. There's a lot of plants growing in a small area and they run out of food. So by putting in the water retaining granules and the extra fertiliser, it will keep the plants growing. So what we need to do now is plant through the sides of the hanging basket. You can use virtually any trailing plant that you want. I'm going for trailing lobelia, and these are grown in plug trays, so they just simply pop out, and I need 6 plants for a basket of this size. And what I'm going to do with them is push them through the side of the basket, making sure that the foliage is on the outside and the root ball is on the inside. What I don't like to do is push them in from the outside in, because you can damage the roots. But this way, it doesn't matter if the odd leaf gets damaged, but I want to keep the roots healthy. So just push them through gently like that. And the advantage with this hanging basket is it's got a good wide mesh, so you're not having to squeeze the plants through it. So we've got those in position, and we can see all the roots are on the inside of the hanging basket, and then we can put our second layer of wool in. Now some people, rather foolishly as far as I'm concerned, fill their basket at the beginning with wool or moss and compost, and then make holes in the side and poke the plants through. Doesn't do the plants any good at all, and this way is far easier and better for the plants. So we should just put our layer of wool around. This is so easy and so clean to work with. So that just goes all the way around. We've got to make sure there are no gaps, otherwise the compost will wash out, but at the same time we don't want too thick a layer of the wool, because that's taking up valuable compost space. So there we go, to the top. We need to add more compost, virtually to the top. Just fill that in like so, not firming it down, firm it lightly as we plant. We need just a little bit more of the fertiliser on the top, and a little bit more of our swell-gel, so all the compost's got it mixed in. And then we can plant some trailers around the edge. Because it's a a hanging basket. We want lots of trailing plants, and garden centres and nurseries at this time of the year are full of all sorts of things. Some grown for the foliage, some grown for the flowers. So we've got in this, we've got a bacopa, we've got a fuchsia, we've got Nepeta, we've got all sorts in here. So I'm going to put 4 main trailers in a 14-inch basket. This one with the lovely pink flowers is a Centradina, but these are all readily available. They're not hard to find in garden centres. They will go round and they will trail over the sides as they go. They will fill out. They only look small at the moment, but that's the idea. We're giving it a few weeks to grow on. And then these are lovely new Busy Lizzie, which are going in there. You can buy Busy Lizzies either in pots or in packs. And we're going to put 3 of these. That's all we're going to need of these, because these are going to make quite large plants. So just 3 of these. You could use petunias or begonias if you wanted to. So they're going to go in there. And then just to finish off, just back to the lobelia, which will also link in with the lobelia on the lower level. I'm going to put some lobelia that will trail over. This is a mixed colour trailing lobelia. And that's going to trail down the sides and make a lovely colourful display. So just a few pieces to fill the gaps. So that's it planted. What we do with that now is give it a water. So that settles all the roots and it activates the slow release fertiliser and the swell-gel and gets everything growing. I'm going to put the chains on and I'm going to hang it in the greenhouse. But if you haven't got a greenhouse, stand it outside during the day. But if it's cold at night, bring it into a garage or under cover. We need to keep it frost free, and when there's no danger of frost where you live, this can then hang out, and by then it will have established and filled out, and that should keep going all the way through till early autumn.